Moving through a modern city often feels like navigating a sea of complete strangers. When you combine that anonymity with a news cycle focused almost entirely on conflict, it's easy to assume that isolation is the natural state of the world. On a map of human interaction, looking the other way creates a vacuum. Connections snap and go dark, leaving us isolated. But this vacuum is filled by people who disrupt their routine to help. By stepping up, they pull neighbors back into a connected network. Faith in humanity isn't usually restored by massive global shifts. Instead, it's maintained through a measurable spectrum of small, localized actions. This spectrum matters because it shows that the health of a society depends on individual agency. In every encounter, a person decides whether to let the network stay dark or to light it back up. The foundation of this behavior is everyday courtesy. These are the low-stakes actions that require almost no time and zero personal risk.
You see it when a Canadian driver steps out of his car at a red light, just to brush the snow off the rear windshield of the person in front of him. It's visible when a truck driver realizes a larger vehicle needs extra space to turn, and immediately backs up to make the maneuver easier. Even someone driving an expensive sports car might stop, get out in the elements, and manually clear a clogged street drain to keep the road safe for everyone else. These are social friction reducers. Think of society as these mechanical gears. Without these small, glowing drops of courtesy to lubricate the teeth, the entire system eventually grinds to a halt. Courtesy is a fundamental proof of community. Because it is free, it acts as the simplest possible way to acknowledge that the strangers around us have a right to be there. One level up the spectrum is compassion. This requires more than a passing gesture. It demands that a person actively pause their own life to address someone else's deficit. An exhausted trash collector might be at the end of a long shift, yet he still finds the energy to stop his work and play with a group of triplets watching from the sidewalk. This level of empathy shows up when someone spots a shivering animal on the road and removes their own shirt to keep it warm, sacrificing their own comfort for a creature in need. We see children who stop their game to carry a disabled friend across the playground, ensuring that no one is left behind as the group moves on. It's the driver who stops his car in the middle of a commute to rescue a stray kitten from the road, putting a fragile life ahead of his own schedule. Compassion is the active choice to absorb someone else's burden. It changes a person's reality by stepping in to fill a gap they couldn't bridge on their own. At the peak of the spectrum is high-stakes heroism. In these moments, self-preservation instincts are completely overridden by the need to protect another person. This is a reflex. It's what drove a stranger in Seattle to go sprinting down a slick, dangerous road to intercept a car that was sliding out of control. It's the bus driver who looked up, saw a construction worker hanging from a safety tether, and positioned his bus as a platform to catch him. It's the little boy whose quick reflexes let him grab his mother and prevent a dangerous fall before he had time to process the risk. And we see it in the hero who waded into violent flood currents, risking his life against the water to carry 2 children to safety. This level of courage is the ultimate expression of human connection. For a few critical seconds, the survival of a stranger becomes more important than the hero's own life. From a brushed windshield to a flood rescue, these acts build the foundation for large-scale resilience. You see the result when a car is struck by lightning, and dozens of people are instantly rushing toward it to help, without a single person coordinating the effort. Every act on this chart, whether it involves low-risk courtesy or high-stakes courage, starts at the same central point of empathy. They are different expressions of the exact same human drive. These viral videos provide clear, physical evidence that empathy remains a primary force in our lives, even when the news suggests otherwise. You don't need a flood or a crisis to participate. Choosing everyday courtesy is the first step toward proving that humanity is worth our faith.